talk about tonight. We got a special guest called the Dating Pool Diva in the building. We got the relationship segment, the Diva Diaries. We talking about Dez Bryant. We got a sister fired because she got highlights in her head, y'all. We want to know what's going on with the NSA bugging world leaders and what the hell is going on with that department store Barney's. They tapping phones in the NSA and they profiling people in stores. Ain't no half Steppin. Marcus J is right now.
It's about that time. It's about that time to get.
Button your lip, open your ears, strap on your thinking cap. Socially conscious talk that's entertaining with a dash of humor and the top sports stories of the week. It's time for Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J.
Sellers has Jordan. Jordan with 2 seconds to go. Puts it up and scores at the buzzer. Michael Jordan has won it for Chicago. Manning lobs it. Burris alone. Touchdown, New York.
Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. He hits one deep to right center. That ball is out of here. The Yankees win the pennant.
If they lying,
Then you must be half stepping.
ain't no half stepping. With Marcus J is live, y'all. We back in the building. Be down with us tonight, 804-402-2893 to be down with the flagship show of Legacy Internet Radio. Definitely glad to have you here in the building. LegacyInternetRadio.com can be heard on TuneIn. Search the site, Legacy Internet Radio. Loud City, search the site, Legacy Internet Radio. Of course, we got our MixLR family that joins us every single week from MixLR.com. We appreciate the love that we get all around the national internet, the world. We got people in Korea and Florida and Georgia and Arizona that be listening to us, so we appreciate the love that we get. We got a live show tonight. We got a lot to get into, so we're going to jump right into the salutations so that we can get right to the show. Joining us for her monthly spot, as we do every single month, we got the Dating Pool Diva in the building. What's going on, sister?
Hey, y'all. Ain't nothing.
How you doing today?
I'm good. A little sleepy, a little tired, but I'm waking up.
It's a lot of that going on because the sister on your left-hand side walked in the door talking about how tired she was at S.Y. Butler. What's
Maybe
up?
she needs some sleep.
Hi, Marcus.
How you are doing today?
I am fine. I don't like what's his face.
I don't like him either, but he's our buddy. We love him.
Can he not
So
come back Monday?
I mean, we gotta hold on to him. We gonna hold on to him, but
That's
we'll go ahead and get the
don't
man on the
like
line. Let him defend himself. We know him as Big Rube.
Yo.
Big Rube.
Yo.
What's up, man?
Not much, man. Just chilling.
It's good to see you back here, and we know, we know, the crew knows, the listeners don't know how badly you pick on S.Y. Butler. She gives as good as she gets, but you pick on her, man. What's up with that?
I don't be picking on her. She just don't be understanding what's real out here.
No,
and
I
she
don't
need to,
be
And she needs to
understanding.
get herself together.
Is that what it is?
It's always what it is. She needs to get some sleep. Maybe she'll act right.
Yeah, that's what it is.
You need to stop picking on me.
Nobody's picking on you. What, you think a man come here and do something? You better be quiet, girl. Try to stop
You
tripping.
don't want to take a bus ride there.
I didn't want tripping. You
Okay.
blah, 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 blah.
Blah, 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 blah.
Exactly. That's what I care about.
Ain't no ass stuff with Marcus J. Check it. We want to get right into it tonight because we got a lot to get to, Rube. I want you in on this one first. We set up the show by talking about how we're socially conscious talk that's entertaining with a dash of humor in the top. What? Sports stories of the week. We haven't done a lot of sports lately, and we're not going to turn back into a primarily sports show, but oftentimes we have sports stories that transcend social media, socially conscious topics, things of that sort. And so there's two stories that I kind of want to get to really, really quickly. Ladies, just bear with us. Jump in as you see fit. But first thing I want to get into is the New York Football Giants running back Brandon Jacobs, who had been getting into a Twitter beef with people a little over a week ago because he was not playing in a game because he was injured. And you had folks on Twitter and you had folks in social media that went so far as to threaten this man's life because he was unable to play in the football game. And so I need someone to help me understand this, Ruben, because I don't do fantasy. I don't like fantasy. It's just not something that I do. One of the reasons why I don't do fantasy is because, to me it takes away a little bit the fun of actually watching my team do what my team's going to do. A lot of times when you do fantasy, you kind of get more caught up in other teams. But Brandon Jacobs is getting attacked for not playing because some guy had him on his fantasy team. Talk to me. What do you think?
I mean, what I think. I mean, that dude who threatened Brandon Jacobs is an idiot. He probably looks somewhat like me. Probably don't have any muscularity. He probably sucks. To be honest with you, those are those Twitter gangsters out there, and be real. Nobody cares about them, because if they had cojones to talk to Brandon Jacobs himself, he would say that. And of course, no, I gotta go to Twitter. And first of all, Brandon Jacobs is an idiot for doing it. He should just ignore it. He should be like, look, I don't care about you and your stupid fantasy. You don't like me? That's a you problem, and call it a day.
But you know what's funny that you say that, man, because we can say that as laymen, but we all are emotional creatures, and when someone's calling you out, it's very difficult for you to just kind of turn off your emotions. Like you had the guy who owns the Indianapolis Colts. I can't remember the guy's name.
Jim Irsay,
who was, he's on Twitter 3-4 o'clock in the morning fighting with people, cussing them out, and they're cussing him out. This freaking owner of the team who lowered himself to this. So, I kind of like it in those two situations, Brandon Jacobs and Jim Irsay, kind of the same. To that, you say what?
I mean, ignorance begets ignorance. I mean, if you're going to sit there and bash some dude from the comfort of his own couch telling you how to do your job, man, please. I ain't got time for that. And he shouldn't either. You should be professional, especially being the owner of a club. If you want to put something out, you put something out. But don't go to Twitter or Facebook or any of that craziness, because you know what? When it's all said and done, it's fans. They can say, well, I pay for this team. Well, you probably don't go to the games. You probably watch at home on your DirecTV. You pay DirecTV.
Right.
It's just shut up. Just do what you do and be a fan and be done with it. If you don't like the way he does stuff, you don't got to be a fan of his. Real talk.
That's why. What do you think? I know you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. It's not so much a situation where we're looking for fan discussion, because I want to dive in on this one too. It's more about attacking folk on Twitter or social media because you got issues with their public performance. To that, you say what?
So basically, somebody is just writing their opinions about someone else's play.
If it was just opinions, it would be
game.
one thing, but this is more attacking. The situation is Brandon Jacobs, running back in the National Football League. He happens to play for my team, but that part's irrelevant. He was injured, couldn't play. Guy had him on the fantasy team, was mad that he didn't play, and basically attacked him, called him out and said, I'm not going to get into what he said because I just don't want to get into what he said, but he's attacking the guy, basically calling him out his name, threatening him because he didn't play.
I don't know. I just think it's a little childish then at that point. I don't know if he didn't have anything better to do, but it just sounds like child's play.
David, what you think about it?
I agree. I think Twitter beefs are just really immature for adults to play, and to put your colleague out there like that is very unprofessional. I agree.
804-402-2893 is the number to dial to be down with us tonight. Joy is checking in. What's up, sis? She's telling you, Ruben, to leave SY alone.
Thank you, Joy.
Yo, you need to tell SY to stay in her place.
Hey, Rube, why don't you introduce the next thing that we're getting into? We talked, you and I, earlier when we were doing prep for the show. We talked about Dez Bryant, wide receiver of the Dallas Cowboys, and some of the things that we saw coming from him on yesterday. Why don't you set it up and tell us what went on with him, and let's roundtable it.
All right, very simple. The Cowboys decided that they wanted to give up a game yesterday as the Detroit Lions were coming back. Dez Bryant on the sidelines throws a little temper tantrum. First, he walks up to what's his name? The defender who wasn't DeMarcus Ware. Said some words to him. DeMarcus Ware's chilling, looking at him like, you can say what you want, but you say the wrong thing, I'm going to punch you in the face. and then Jason Witten coming up pretty much telling him to shut up, using some other words, basically like, yo, we got 12 seconds left. You need to calm yourself down. And of course, Dez Bryant, the passionate player that he is, gets live with him. And, this is after he gets into Tony Romo's face and stuff. Like, he gave up, the touchdown, in which he didn't. His defense did. So, the dude's acting like a little kid. He's passionate. I get that. But, I think part of me feels like he wants his team to show some fire because, look, it is very well educated that I'm a Redskins fan, but the Cowboys don't be showing no fire. And they be giving up games late in the game and stuff. And, yeah, for all you Cowgirl fans, well, we beat you already. That's fine. I don't care. You dude looked like a little T.O. yesterday, and you need to get that crap under control, or y'all going to be, once again, not in the playoffs, and one of these 3 sorry teams that you claim us to be is going to come, take your spot, and then you will be wondering why you paid Romo $100 million because he still can't get you in the playoffs when it's not even his fault.
I had someone question the antics of Dez Bryant and suggest that he should be suspended for conduct detrimental to the team. In the interest of full disclosure, that was your man, Mr. LP Steven Sykes, who hosts it live in radio here on Legacy Internet Radio every single Tuesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. To that, Ruben, you say what?
I say that the team should definitely do something because it's not even the fact that the dude wild out on he wild out. You wild out on national TV, man. You can't wild out on national TV. That's not a positive look for the team. And let's just be honest. Your team makes you money. And if nobody wants to see your team because y'all look like a bunch of little girls, then who wants to pay for that? So, yeah, I don't know if they should suspend him. I think that talk needs to be had. And I also think his pocket should be a little bit lighter. I don't think that should be an NFL thing. I think that should be a team thing.
Right. I think suspending him is just ridiculous. I think that's going too far.
For being passionate?
Yeah, I think I think suspending him is going too far. I mean, I wasn't watching the game. Absolutely, you fine him an undisclosed amount,
which is like $5,000.
I mean, whatever that amount, whatever the amount, ends up being. You make the fact that you fined him public so that the people can see that there was some sort of disciplinary action, and then you move on. It was a bad visual. Again, anybody that knows me knows there's no love lost between me and Dallas Cowboys, but this wasn't about him being a Dallas Cowboy player. This was more about him being a player in the NFL, and the demonstrative behavior that I saw on the sidelines just didn't appear to be appropriate. Anytime you see teammates yelling at each other, it's just a bad visual, and the person who is the center of that kind of dissension is the person who needs to be dealt with.
And this isn't the first time that happened.
No, well, I had somebody question, and try to make it a racial issue and say if it was Tom Brady, would we feel the same way? Which, I'm the first one to throw my fist up in the air when it's one of those types of things. But, I think that it was irresponsible for this person to bring race into it simply because Tom Brady is not the type of personality where you're going to see that. You know what I mean? I mean, if we were talking about Bill Romanowski, then maybe. But we're not talking about Bill Romanowski. We're talking about Tom Brady, and we're talking about Dez Bryant in this case. And so apples and oranges, 2 different types of personalities. If you wild out, you act like how he was acting on the field, then you get a fine. But that is not, to me, a suspendable offense. Ain't no how Steppin Marcus said, all right, that was what's happening. Now let's get into what the hell, because there is a couple that will make me say, made me say what the hell. I want the diva in on this one first. I'm just going to read the byline on this one and kind of I usually oftentimes laugh when I see some of these, and so I'm just going to show you this dude's face, this photograph of this dude. I'm getting this article from allchristiannews.com. The byline on it says that man sets house on fire while trying to cook the Bible. Yes, Jeremy Anderson, 22 years old from Oklahoma City, is behind bars after setting fire to his kitchen when he tried to, quote, cook the Bible, end quote, during his arrest. The police were called to his home when a neighbor called to report an incident of a person going ballistic. He threw objects at the police when they tried to enter his house. He also kicked off the hinges to the front door. Police noticed they had blood stains covering his hands and face. When they tried to tase him, he told them that he wouldn't be affected by it. When he got tased again, he removed the probes in an act of defiance. He then told backup officers who arrived on the scene that he would fist fight them and they should put down their guns. After smelling smoke in the apartment, they obtained the key to his back door from the local housing authority, and they were able to get into the house. Once they got into the house, they discovered the walls and floors were covered in blood, bleach, and other substances. And substances is in quotes. Who the hell knows what that means? But a fire was then discovered in the kitchen, broken glass, furniture littered throughout the apartment. He had been tasered a few more times. When he finally dragged out the burning building by police, they were dressed in riot gear, by the way. He reportedly told the police that he was a satanist and he had started the fire because he wanted to, quote, cook the Bible. He also told them that he was possessed by a homosexual demon who had performed sexual acts upon him. So,
Okay.
and we should be making fun.
Say something
We
to
should
this.
make fun of this dude, but when I saw this, I said there is no way, because that is the epitome of why we do this segment that we call What the Hell. So, David, you up first. What you got?
I don't even know where to start. That is a really crazy story, and I think we all are in consensus with saying that he has some mental health issues and he has some problems. He may be a satanist too, and a group of them may be doing the same, cooking the Bible and doing all this crazy stuff in their house. But I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. The world is just getting crazier and crazier, and I'm not surprised by this type of story.
Big Ro, you can't wait to get in. What you got, man?
Lord Jesus is a fire. You couldn't wait. You could.
At first, I thought that he wanted to cook the Bible because he, was trying to get the good ingredients out of the Bible, and that was his way of getting the knowledge out of the Bible. But when you said satanic,
It was that broken glass and damaged stuff that kind of, the blood everywhere.
Yeah.
I got two words for you.
You were waiting for me to use the word satanic because you knew it was coming. You knew it was coming, Ruben.
I got two words for you. Natural selection.
Natural
We can
selection.
move on now.
Natural selection. All right, ain't no ass Steppin Marcus. Yeah, you got a sister who was fired from her job recently. I'm getting this one from where? Huffington Post. My favorite. She got fired because she had highlights in her hair. Her name is Farron Johnson. She told the Maryland CBS News affiliate that she was let go from her job as a waitress at Hooters due to improper image. After the 25-year-old refused to remove blonde highlights from her dark brown hair. They specifically said, quote, black women don't have blonde in their hair, so you need to take it out. I didn't see that it would be a big issue just because there were a lot of other employees working at the restaurant of other races with hair color in their hair. For instance, there were Asian girls with red hair and Caucasian girls with black hair and blonde streaks, so I didn't think it would be an issue for this little piece of blonde highlight in my hair. Now, of course, she's filing a racial discrimination complaint with the Maryland Commission of Civil Rights. Quote, the law is clear that employers can't have two separate unequal sets of rules, one for, I don't like African, black people, and one for, it's a quote, but I'm going to change it, black people, and one for everybody else. And yet, that's exactly what Hooters did here in firing Ms. Johnston, a black employee solely because she's black. They targeted her because her hair, solely because of her race. That's why you up first.
Yeah, good for her. She should file, but yeah, I don't get that. If it can't be that bad in appearance when Hooters is known for having other things be of appearance. So her having her few little blonde streaks, it doesn't even matter. It just doesn't matter. So go ahead and sue him. I would too.
David?
you couldn't get any more racist than that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not true. Black people don't have blonde hair. There are some black people with blonde hair. And if she wants to have blonde streaks, who are you to say she shouldn't? There are some Caucasian women with black natural hair that have blonde streaks. Are they, you know, put up against the same scrutiny? Probably not.
Right. What about Big Roo? What about your opinion on the subject? What do you think?
I mean, here's my question, and I'm just be real. This is not meant as a joke, but my question is, how did she look with the blonde streaks?
Give me some more.
I mean, because some Hooters in some locations are known for having pretty women, and then there's some that aren't. But you know, I'm not. I don't know if it was a racial thing more or less than a you don't really look good with those blonde streaks thing.
She's not in Hooters for her hair.
She's not in Hooters for her hair, bro.
Yeah, but she's in Hooters supposedly. Now I've seen some questionable chicks in Hooters, but for the most part, they're supposed to have. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but they cater to attractive women in Hooters. So if the blonde streaks made her look questionable or not as attractive, and or maybe some other girls were like, yo, what's up? Her blonde streaks taking my money.
All right, here's the reality. Here's the reality. Men don't give a damn about your hair for the most part if they looking at you at Hooters. You know, you be hard pressed to get them to even look at your face. Okay, so don't give me this.
I disagree with that.
Okay, well, I said that to be crass to make a point, ladies, and I hope you understand why I said it like that for a reason. You know, I mean, I won't speak for whatever your opinion is. You can make your own point. But my thing is, we're gonna fire the black girl that's got a blonde streak in her hair from Hooters, really? And you're going to tell her because it's the blonde streak? That's the reason? Really?
She was probably looking too good. She was probably looking better than the rest of them.
I mean, it's hair. You know what I mean? Like, I seen Hooters fire chicks because they didn't have the little stockings that they supposed to wear. Mm-hmm. I seen them do stuff like that. But hair? I can't roll with you on that one, bro. Yeah. I'm sorry. I can't. That's why.
I'd like to say more, but I need to hold what I have to say for later.
Okay, well, fair enough. Ain't no hashtag Marks J. Keeping it moving. This next one had me fired up when I saw it. Also on the Huffington Post, there's a petition to rename the Nathan B. Forrest High School. They want to rename the Nathan B. Forrest High School, which of course is in Jacksonville, Florida. They want to rename it to something different. The reason why they want to rename it to something different is because Jackson B. Forrest was a Confederate general and one of the first Ku Klux Klan Grand Wizards. And it's a high school in a predominantly black neighborhood that bears his name. That's why. There is a petition. It's, of course, on change.org, which, I don't know, I guess that's the petition website now. They're asking Duval County Public Schools Superintendent Nikolai Vitti to change the name of the school. They say it's troubling that you got a school where more than half the students are black to be named for someone who would have kept their ancestors enslaved, and that's a quote. Forrest was a plantation owner and a slave trader. Some accounts accuse him of ordering black prisoners to be massacred after a Confederate Army victory. The newly formed Klan elected Forrest as its honorary Grand Wizard in 1867, though he denied involvement. I've done a little research on this story after having read this, and apparently my research tells me that this dude was in fact not only a member of the Ku Klux Klan, but a high-ranking one, and it also states that he has always steadfastly disavowed any alleged involvement, but there is documents to the contrary pointing to his involvement and high-ranking his high-ranking involvement in the Klan. There's a school in 2013, of course, that bears his name, and some folks want it changed. So setting it up, you got a ex-KKK dude as well as a Confederate general whose name is on a school in the black neighborhood. That's why. What's your thoughts?
It should have been changed the name. It shouldn't have been named after him in the first place. I mean, it's in the wrong spot for that kind of, to have his name. There are too many black kids. It's in a black neighborhood. I wouldn't want to go to that school. I wouldn't want to go. So it's about time they change the name.
David, what you think?
There's a lot of names that need to be changed on that same premise. I mean, you have these schools and community centers. William Byrd, not too far, is a good example. I mean, everybody knows that, he didn't want equal rights for black people. And so, you have
what's the school here in Mechanicsville, Virginia, not far from here? Gosh, I can't think of the name of it. Big Roo, help me out. The school that's in Mechanicsville that's on just off Mechanicsville Pike that's named after the general here.
Robert E. Lee.
Robert E. Lee, is it? The high
The high school?
Yeah, it's a high school.
That's Highland Springs.
Nah, this is in Mechanicsville, Virginia, which is a eastern suburb of us here in the Richmond area. It'll come to me. I can't think of the name of it,
Yeah,
but we live in a state here, Rube. I want you to jump back in here, Rube. We live in a state where, for a long time, we were subjected to Lee Jackson King Day before they ended up separating. And we know Robert E. Lee and Andrew Jackson were strong proponents against black folk. They were Confederates, and we know that when Abraham Lincoln was assassinated and Andrew Jackson took over the presidency behind him, he worked very hard to reverse the Emancipation Proclamation, and they were forced upon us as a triple day holiday, along with, of all people, Martin Luther King. And so when I see a story like that, of course, it raises my antennas and it makes me immediately want to fight with those people. And I thought it was interesting to bring up. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, they should probably change the name. I guess for me, it's just I'm just really not hung up on stuff like that. Maybe because I'm a whatever type of dude, but like there's stuff like that everywhere, and I feel like that sometimes we just kind of like try to get to we got to fix everything,
Right?
And I really feel like that fixing everything sometimes. I don't know. I like that's kind of messed up down there, and they probably should change it. But what are you gonna change it to? Unless you have an idea. That's just like the whole Redskins name. Okay, what are you gonna change it to? I mean, it's hard to fix the past. My thing is, as long as we educate everybody about the past, then you make your own whatever's about it. I mean, because trying to fix the past really just gets our present jacked up.
Yeah, I think that high school is the Lee Davis High School.
We're getting that on the MixLR page from Sid. So yeah, Lee Davis High School in Mechanicsville. Thanks, Sid. I guess part of me agrees with you, Rube, but then the other part of me is kind of not agreeing in the sense that these kids got to go to this school that's named after a dude that isn't someone that's consistent with the values that this country allegedly purports to have today. You know what I mean? I mean, this school's named after Carter G. Woodson, great guy. School's named after, Lawrence Douglas Wilder, great guy. This school's named after Whitney E. Young. I went to Whitney E. Young, elementary school, PS 41 in Richmond, in Jersey City, New Jersey. Fred W. Martin actually was the name of that school. Whitney E. Young was number 15 around the corner. Great people. And those are schools that you have no issues, no qualms of celebrating the person whose name is on the front of it, along with the number. But when you have to tell people that you went to the school that's named after the Confederate general, you're a black kid, and you know that if your ancestors were here and that dude was here, he would do all he can do to have him swinging from some rope.
Yeah, and I understand that. But also, if we're going to do that, then we need to change all the MLK streets in the hood that's right beside, the ABC stores. And in the hood, why can't it be an MLK street in the middle of a suburb? I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's just like for every action, there's a reaction. And if we're not going to balance out everything, then do we really want to take that pathway of trying to balance anything?
I just wanted to react to what you're saying, Ruben. I agree with you, but I also feel that there's a start for everything. And maybe it starts with changing some of the schools and then the street names and the community centers. It's one step at a time. Any change that happened was progressive. Nothing happens overnight. So that might be the perfect place to start.
I agree. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. I want to move on to another story that we got here. That's why I want you on this one first. I'm getting this one from theguardian.com. This is about the National Security Agency, that not only are they phone tapping Americans, but they also phone tap 35 world leaders. And how they got caught up is they got caught phone tapping the French ambassador. And she knows, everybody knows, and President Obama says that he didn't know. And so I don't want to get into, the whole story. I want to keep this general. But what do you think about the National Security Agency, which is an American agency, phone tapping our allies, other world leaders?
It's scary. It's very scary, and we definitely need to look for some, that I won't say we should look for it, but that can cause a lot of problems for us. And especially if our president doesn't know it's happening, and God knows this might throw back at him for some unknown reason. But that's real scary that they can actually do that. We know they do it to us all kinds of ways, but what's going to be the result of something like that?
Rob, what do you think, man? You talking about the NSA phone tapping our allies. What do you think about that?
Honestly, I think that there are a whole bunch of things that we don't need to know. And I think I'm kind of getting sick of the media telling all our business out to everybody, because there are just some people in this country, in this world, who can't handle it. You know what? If they got to phone tap people to make sure everything goes down legit, then so be it. I'm not going to sit here and pass judgment on our government for phone tapping people, because let's just be real. We can barely trust ourselves in our own country, much less anybody else. I'm just really like, there are things that go on that I don't have, my pay grade, my life grade don't need to know that. As long as we're protected and stuff, you got to get dirty. And you know what? If that means you got to phone tap some people, phone tap some people. Long as I don't wake up getting bombed like in movies and stuff like that. Because real talk, which movie was it? The one with the first movie where they bombed the Capitol? I can't remember that. Whatever.
You talking about a recent movie?
Yeah. The one with with Morgan Freeman in it.
Oh, yeah, I just watched that movie.
That legitimately can happen.
With the Koreans?
Yes, sir.
No, that movie cannot. Yeah.
Olympus Has Fallen.
That movie was fiction, man.
That movie was very fiction, but let's just be honest with you, man.
It was science fiction.
But you act like that can't happen.
It can't.
And see, that's cool. If you wanna do that, that's fine with you. But with all the technology and stuff that we have, if you're sitting here and telling me that somebody wants to go take over a country, and years in planning, they bombed the Twin Towers, man. How long are they planning for that?
Yeah, that's the Twin Towers. That's airplanes. That's the airport. It's not the White House.
But do you think it was just coincidence? Hey, let's go take over these planes today and go right into the Twin. Come on, man. And then go into the Pentagon?
If you really want to take it there, how about the fact that Dick Cheney, the day before that, talked about how there was $3 billion that was missing from the United States Treasury, and then the day after that, you had 9/11, and that conversation never continued. And that money is still missing.
Exactly.
But nobody ever talked about it. But if you say anything that suggests that
you caught up, you in jail somewhere.
If you say anything that suggests that 9/11 might have been something that could have been prevented, then that makes you a treasonous person. And so where I'm going with that is the United States has so much knowledge about what goes on in this world, whether they're phone tapping leaders or not. The possibility, I'm speaking directly to you addressing the movie Olympus Has Fallen. If you really sit here and think that they could get inside the White House, you done lost it, because that ain't happening. In large part because they spying on the homies.
Well, but you can't. My thing is, you asked what my opinion is, and my opinion is the media finds out way too much stuff, and some of that stuff the public does not need to know.
All right, I can dig that, Diva.
I also watched White House Down, and I think that movie, was really like almost on the same lines as the other one, Olympus Has Fallen. I don't agree that stuff couldn't happen. I do agree with you that the phone tapping could help to prevent it. But it can also help to cause it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if people find out you tapping on their stuff, and now it's a retaliation and all kinds of stuff.
My thing is, my thing on it is, and that's why I want your opinion on this as well. My thing is, the United States has this big brother complex around the world where they feel like they're above the law and they can do whatever it is they want to do, up to and including tapping the phones of their so-called allies. Like, do you have any idea how crazy that sounds, how disrespectful that is, that you are going to be tapping the phones of the people that you call your allies? We're not talking about tapping Iran's phones and tapping Iraq's phones. We're talking about the French and the English.
I say be scared.
And, I mean, you are going to play, and I'm not calling you ignorant, but you're going to play ignorance that the other countries aren't doing the same?
Well, I mean, I'm not talking about the other countries.
But that's what I'm saying.
I'm not talking about the other countries, but I'm also going to put it out there. If we know world history, we also know that there's precedent for a world power to get so powerful that they eventually topple. Okay? We can talk about the Romans. We can talk about the English. This that bullshit they made you learn in elementary school. Mm-hmm. You know, they teach you history for a reason. And so we got to remember that. We got to remember the fact that we send a check to freaking Israel every single year. Don't nobody ever want to ask a question as to why we do that? Like, why we do it? Where's the money going? You know what I'm saying? Taps. Okay, but you know, I mean, and I know that we brought this up not to speak about that, but the whole point, the reason why I bring that up is, you know, we do some shiesty stuff, man. And I'm not going to blame the media for putting it in the hands of the American people, because if we really are a country of people who have interest in everything that we do, then we should be aware so that we can have our own opinions. Because if we're going to support a government that's going to allow that kind of stuff to happen, then we need to know that.
But you know what? As much as I agree with you on that, I feel personally that 80% of the country can't handle that information. And
so because 80% can't handle it, the rest of us got to live in the dark?
Man, I mean, you live how you live, but honestly, I think that 80% of the country cannot handle all the information. And then furthermore, people act like other people in other countries can't read English. I mean, you put it out there, they can read it, they can hear it, they know what's up. You know, they can decipher it. Why are you putting our business out on the world media? That is unnecessary. And I mean, I understand your point, and we have to agree to disagree on this.
We always agree to
but
disagree.
You know,
okay.
It's one of those things where I want my country to be protected, and if you don't think they have to do some dirty stuff to make that happen, then you already living on the wrong continent.
All right, well,
go to Switzerland.
Real quick, I'm going to give you an opportunity to respond to this next comment. Stephen Sykes, Alignment Radio, disagrees. He says the argument's a little bit weak. He says that an airplane that invades us in airspace would have to be shot down, which I disagree with that, because that didn't happen on 9/11. That's why I get your comment in. I'll give Ruben a chance to address Stephen's point.
I was just saying, you know, I agree actually with Ruben, and I don't know if I'm in that percentage that just doesn't need to know. I'd want to know, but I don't want to know, because honestly, that's scary. That's something else for me to worry about. That's scary to me. That's going to be bad feedback for us. That's going to be bad for us.
No, fair enough. I mean, just because it's bad doesn't mean that we don't need to know. There's plenty of people walking around with HIV and they don't know because they're scared to get tested. So,
yeah.
So Rube, you want to address what Steven said before we move on?
Yeah, I'll just piggyback on your comment. I don't remember anybody shooting those planes down when they hit the Twin Towers in the Pentagon, that place in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm just being honest, and this is just how I feel. I have a lot of respect for our military and our government in times of war. However, we must understand that sometimes you got to get a little dirty. And if you're not willing to get a little dirty, you know, then you already lost. And what did the great Eddie Guerrero and wrestler said, if you're not cheating, you're not trying.
All right. You know, I Steppin Marcus, Jay. I don't agree with that, but fair enough. Last thing I want to get into, we're getting this from the dailymail.co.uk. Diva, I want you on this one first. This was the black college student who saved up all his money from the part-time job to go to Barney's department store to buy himself a $350 belt. Trayon Christian has filed a lawsuit for unspecified amount of damages against the Madison Avenue store, and the because the NYPD wrongly accused him of fraud. Mr. Christian lives with his moms in Queens. Decided to splash on a $320 belt. My apologies. From designer Salvatore Ferragamo after seeing one of his favorite music stars, holler rapper Jules Santana, wearing the accessory. Mr. Christian goes into the store. He buys the belt. And according to the lawsuit, He was asked how a young black man such as himself could afford a purchase such as the expensive belt. His only crime, of course, was being a young black guy buying a $300 belt, is the quote from Mr. Christian's lawyer, Michael Polillo. A Barney store employee asked the 19-year-old for ID when he used his Chase debit card to buy the belt. Mr. Christian showed his clerk the state ID. The store cashier then subsequently called the police to claim the purchase was fraud. Officers took the teenager, who is an engineering freshman at NYC College of Technology, to a local precinct. Mr. Christian once again showed his ID and his debit card and his receipt for the belt. Officers still refused to believe him. Quote, in spite of producing such documentation, Christian was told that his identification was false and that he could not afford to make such an expensive purchase, the suit states. Finally, Chase Bank was contacted, who verified that the debit card belonged to Mr. Christian. It was only then that he was allowed to go after spending 2 hours in a holding cell. NYPD denied this and said the student was only held for 42 minutes. Okay, he has no history of arrest, and he will never shop at Barney's again. I think we can leave it at that. But the last thing, he works at Target, and he told the newspaper, I bought the belt to Barney's a few days later and returned it. Got my money back. I'm not shopping there again. It's cruel. It's racist. I want the ladies in on this one first. Diva, what you got?
Well, I'm going to go with my militant attitude right now. I feel like we need to buy and produce for ourselves. We need to stop buying these other people's things that the designers don't even respect us. They don't even want us buying their things. I think it was... I can't think right now off the hand, a designer that said a few years ago that
Tommy
he didn't
Hilfiger.
want, that he didn't want us buying his stuff. What are we still buying his stuff for?
Tommy Hilfiger.
You know, it's a blatant disrespect to say, I don't want black people buying my things, but yet we stand in line to get it. So I feel like this is a perfect example of why we need to produce our own $350 belts or whatever, designer stuff, and buy our own things. That way we don't have to worry about the racist card or whatever.
That's why.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Charisma on that. Racist. I mean, I'm really tired of hearing all these racist stories. Go ahead, sue the shop down. I wish him a lot of luck. Big
Ro, what's your thoughts on this story, man?
I actually agree with that's why I'm sick of hearing all this racist stuff too, because for me, I'm a big information guy. Like, to me, it also sucks because having worked in the media, sensationalization is one of those things that happens. I'm not saying this is sensationalized, but it's just, I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know enough about the NYPD to give judgment. This is more, I guess, what Marcus's feel, because he knows more about the NYPD than I do. I don't know what Barney's is. This is the first I've ever heard of Barney's.
Think Macy's, but on a bigger scale than Macy's.
Okay, I mean, because once again,
but on a bigger scale than Macy's.
There's no way for me to shop there, so and I would never buy.
Well, you also keep in mind that this dude is buying a belt for $320.
Yeah,
so
which is another problem.
Consider the store. Let me just say this because we run out of time. I want to move on to the next segment, but. You know, I bring this kind of stuff up because I like our listeners to know that this stuff still happens. You got people walking around thinking that we live in a post-racial world. No, these people don't want you here, man. They don't want you here. You got people that vote against their own interests because their bigger interest is to not have your ass around. That's what's real talk. You know, and I said last week, I don't think that all Republicans are racist, but I think most racists are Republicans. And that's why you got poor, broke ass rednecks that live in the rural areas who barely can take care of themselves that will vote Republican, even though they can't, they can't live in the same ways that some of these white collar people live. You know, how crazy is that when you got the Democrats who actually do things that are for their interest? So give me another reason why they vote Republican. Like, help me understand that. So I kind of bring that full circle to say that there are people here that don't want you here, and they will make it very, very clear to you by saying, we don't think you belong, even though you showed us a government issue ID, you showed us a credit card that showed that this is legitimate, but at the same time I'll look you in the face and say, no, that's what stop and frisk is all about, And hey, look, man, I bring this kind of stuff up because I want folks to know. That's just real talk. And you can say what you want about the president of the United States. I mean, I'm not real happy with the dude right now. I haven't been in a long time. But the venom that he get, trust me, don't get it twisted. It ain't got nothing to do with his office. It got everything to do with his melanin. Ain't no how Steppin with Marcus J. We're going to leave it there. We're going to take a break. We come back. We got SY that's going to lead us in a healthy living segment where we're going to talk about diabetes tonight. Marcus J. and O'Hara Steppin. I got the crew in the building. Dating Pool Diva, SY, Big Rube, and you, the listeners. Ain't no how Steppin, Marcus J. Be back in a minute.